a year later or 6 months from now?
No, they are not
What
agree,
prevents that?
but they are not even agreeing to give up the streets because that's the main bone of contention. The whole
Very
stop,
good.
the
Very
whole,
good. No, stop. I agree. So what are we doing? Get the fuck out. Okay, figure shit out. There's no point in staying in this war when whatever we agree upon doesn't matter if it's straight or nukes or missile. It does not matter. They could go back to doing the same thing right after Trump leaves the Middle East.
so if you are
Agree
Trump,
or disagree?
I do, I do, I do.
Agree or disagree? Okay.
No, I like to be the devil's advocate and provide an adversarial position to what you're saying. It's easy for you to sit up here and say, "Well, Trump, why don't you just abandon the strait and allow the Iranians to tax whoever is going in and out of that place, and now surrender power to you?" What that does now is it will create a problem with the Saudi allies and the Emirati allies. Again, I want you to beat Trump and sit on that seat in the White House and the Oval Office. Would you abandon Strait of Hormuz to Iranian control? That's the question
I
I have for you. Would you abandon?
I sure.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's easy for us to sit on TikTok and do it. I don't know what the numbers are. What happens? My guess is they have played out the scenario if they just get the fuck out, and they have different numbers that they run on the economy or whatever the case may be. Um, the bottom line is Trump started this war thinking that these people would rise up, the regime would be gone, and it would be done very quickly. Now, Trump, no doubt about it, it was misread, blame whoever you want, and now Trump is stuck. And I don't know what the fucking right answer is. It's easy for me to say I want out of the war, but I don't know what that ends up like. What happens if Trump says it?
Yeah, I love people to see me as an adversary in this case because the argument is no matter what you guys think of Trump, and it's crazy that I'm on this side now making this argument, because I want to provide some sort of balance to this conversation. Um, what I've noticed is during the first war that the Americans went in with Israel, I saw the way and manner that the war went and how in terms of the operations and what was done. And I'm looking at what America is doing now. America is still targeting civilian infrastructure. But would you not say that Trump have done a far more, because war is not humane, war is ugly. What would you say now in comparison to the first war when the Israelis were bombing schools, 60 universities bombed. They were targeting power plants. Trump is talking the big game, but it's not really doing some of the things that the Israelis would have done if they were hiding under American planes to bomb Iran. Again, Trump wants out of this conflict, but what would you do if you were Trump? And maybe Yarif can tell us, or like you can argue.
I already told you.
Maybe I'm going back in I'm
Wait,
going back in
hold on, hold
circle.
on, hold on. I just want to say that sitting here right now, not knowing the facts, how does basically saying "fuck this straight forever"? Maybe how does that impact all the numbers that Trump is worried about? I don't know. Yariv, what do you got, Yariv?
I think you don't have patience. I don't know how you said I'm tired from the war, that it's not affecting you.
Donald Trump is tired from it. Donald Trump is bored with it.
This is the problem with the American. You don't have patience.
Just so you know, Sab, I don't know if you know Yariv. He has bitched and moaned that our refueling jets are in his fucking airport, and to me that comes off ungrateful as fuck.
And you know what happened now?
What happened?
They just returned more.
Okay, good. I told him to. I said, you know what? Piss off Yariv more. Make him come off even more ungrateful. Yariv, if you were Trump and Bibi, how would you end the war?
End the war?
Yeah, what do you have to accomplish before you end it?
Take the oil, the island with the oil, and take the hummus. This is what I have been done.
How do you take the hummus? Are you a military guy? How do you physically take the hummus? That is mined with drone boats, and there's a lot of mines on the ground. Do you go in with an aircraft carrier into that tiny strip and get knocked out and sunk Do you go with frigates and destroyers? Do you believe that the Americans are refusing to take the Strait of Hormuz and take those islands? And by the way, what are the names? Again, this is the problem I have with Israelis. What are the names of those islands?
What is the name of the island?
Yeah, the islands you're asking them to take.
Faraj,
There are two. There are two of them. What are the names?
there are two of them.
Two. Or there are many of them, but there are
Just,
two key ones.
it's much easier to just bomb the
Did you hear the
infrastructure of
question?
this
You are an
island.
Israeli is asking Trump to go take some islands for you. What are the names
Do
of
I
those islands?
remember exactly the Arab colonizer name? Just a minute. I don't remember. Sorry, I don't remember the name of the island.
So how do
Go ahead.
yeah, so how do you understand the strategic nature of those islands? Because the media in Israel might be saying something. Is it strategic for you to take those islands? Is it possible for you to take those islands without being sitting ducks? So you have to understand the whole picture before you can comment on it. Are you commenting on it because you want American soldiers to go there and die on your behalf? Or are you commenting on it because, Netanyahu said so?
He just likes war. That's it.
No.
They like fucking bombs dropping anywhere and any. It doesn't matter. If there's bombs dropping, they want fucking it. Go ahead, you read.
No, I was in the military. I was in the Air Force. Okay, so I understand how it's going to establish. But again, who stop us? Trump stop us to win, and this is what happened from '67. From '67, America doesn't let us win, and this is our biggest problem in most, because America is intervened in the Israeli government and not let us do or finish the job.
How many wars has America let you lose or made you lose?
No, we won in '67. This is the first war that we have won. Okay.
Bad news. It's not 1967 anymore.
I know, because America then start to intervene from '67. They start to manipulate the Israeli governments, and they are not letting us to win.
Wait,
And
you were
this is the
saying
problem.
unfucking believable. This is the fucking shit I'm talking about. You would be near the top of the list that if Bibi was to say who should never talk on social media again, it would be you. You would be at the top, not number one.
I'm telling the
Because
truth.
trust me, I understand. Yeah.
I don't want to be a banana republic of America. No, sorry.
Too late. You're already our fucking proxy. Wake the fuck up. Go ahead, Zach.
So let's get this straight. The U.S. is Your claim is that the U.S. is preventing Israel from winning wars.
Even in the 12 days war, when we want to
Answer the
finish
question.
job,
Answer the question.
yes, Trump stop us in mid-air.
From
In
winning.
mid-air.
Trump
They
saved
call Bibi and
lives.
stop.
So America is providing you with 70 to 80% of the wherewithal you're using to bomb and to defend yourself, including the ones you need for your arrow and David sling and whatever you need for your defense. America
Yes,
is
we give
running.
jobs to America. Yes,
America
yes,
is
we give
running.
jobs to America.
Just hold on. So if the U.S. is providing you with this wherewithal, and then they're asking you to stop for whatever reason, whether it's shortage, whether it's just impracticable to continue bombing because it might be counterproductive. Why don't you listen to the Americans instead of crying that they're stopping you from winning the war? You don't win the wars because you're Jewish or because you're Christian or Muslim or because you believe you need to bomb and kill people. You win war
Because we have a
on
mission from
God. So the argument is about God.
Of course, we have a mission from God.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dave. These are the
What's
Dave.
the mission read? Like, what is the mission?
Dave.
Just drop as many bombs as possible?
Dave, unfortunately, these are the people you argued for before. Did you hear what he said? He said, God will make us win.
Yes. Bon said they're going to win with passion. That's literally what I said. No, hold on, Yuri, because I want to tell Seth this. I asked Bon, I said, if the United States said fuck Bibi and fuck Israel, how do you, what would happen? He said, we would win with passion. I said, oh, okay, well, good luck.
No. Let's seriously. If you think, first of all, we are allies and we love each other.
We're not allies. You're our proxy. Like,
okay,
just wake the fuck up. You are our proxy.
no, the problem you think like a child, and your perspective is like a child.
I'm sorry. Your own members of the parliament said that you're basically our proxy. Like, what are you talking about? I remember pulling up that quote.
And they were. Go ahead. We are partners, and say what Bibi said in your media. We are partners. Yes, for good and for bad, for worse. We are partners. If the American people decide to stop and not want to be a partner of Israel, it's okay. From our side, we will continue with our life and continue to defend our country. Something that we have done before from 48 to 67. Until then, Americans start to intervene.
Yeah, it's not 1967. Please realize that. Okay, it's just not.
We are much more stronger. We actually can.
You're much more strong. Get the fuck out of here. If it was IRG, wait, hold on, Mickey. Mickey. IRGC versus Israel one-on-one. Who wins?
We are.
I will tell you why. Listen, if it was the case and it's one against the other, and we need to demolish each other, listen, in 5 hours, Iran was actually being annihilated, man. Annihilated.
Would you use nuclear? Would you use nuclear weapons on them?
We don't have this. We don't have this.
So hold on. So you're okay. So
Stop with the lie.
all right, I'm not lying. I'm asking you a question. So let's look at this: a conventional war of attrition to go a conventional war of attrition that lasts for.
Okay, hold on. Let Sam ask the question, then you two can fucking spell it out.
Yeah, the question is, would you use nukes on them? You say you don't have nukes because that's the policy of it. That is the. So that's the argument. That's the policy of the state of Israel that you don't.
Forget that we have the best air force in the world. You know that. And by the way, we didn't even use our submarines that actually hold a lot of weaponry that you and your
Submarines don't hold weaponry. The submarines don't. That's not the. It's not. It doesn't. It's not. It's not a carrier. The essence of a submarine is not to carry payload. The essence of a submarine is number one to beat traditional radar systems is to be able to knock out the navy of the other country. Huh?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but it's not a store for carrying payload. But let's go back to the point I made earlier.
So why do you speak about something that will never happen? America, at the end, will never turn their backs.
But that wasn't the question from the host. The host asked the host.
But again, one-on-one between us and Iran, we will demolish them.
So if you could do that, I understand that, and maybe I agree with you.
Where has that been?
I do agree with you. So why did you ask the Americans to get involved? And you've been doing this for 40 years. If you could do that to Iran on your own.
Again, listen, because we need our interests to be intact by our allies, man.
So you need the Americans, and you couldn't do it on your own.
Listen, if you have the possibility to use your friends to defend yourself, and actually the vice versa, why not use them? But if God forbid America wasn't on our side, we were still able to protect us not 100%, but 60%, not 100%.
What is it talking about? Are you saying 60% does not mean you could win? So you're saying there's a 40% chance that Iran can smoke you out.
Defending us.
What does that mean? What does that mean, defending yourself?
What does it mean? Listen, to actually to use our ally to intercept ballistic missile when we ground and pound them. That's actually helpful, man.
So in order to stop the missile system coming from Iran, the ballistic missile or whatever coming from Iran, you need interceptor missiles, right? You need interceptors. You need your Iron Dome and the Davis Sling and whatever to work. And those things you don't pray on them and put God in them to work. You need interceptor missiles. Those interceptor missiles and the technology that those interceptor missiles, those interceptor. One second. Those interceptor missiles are built with with magnetic rare earth minerals like yttrium, gallium, praseodymium, and most of them come from China. Now you have a trade war between America and China. 80% of world rare earth minerals is controlled by China, and they're starving America of it. America don't have enough to give you. You don't have enough because you don't produce shit. So you're saying that you can defend yourself with what? The Iron Dome itself does not protect anything. It needs those interceptor missiles.
If you're stupid enough not believe that, if you are stupid enough not to believe that we have arsenal, actually,
No, you don't have it. You get from the United States.
no, of course, of course.
Come on,
We
Mickey.
listen at the end, with or without America, thank God that we have America. That's actually very helpful. But with God, we even without America, let me remind you that America wasn't always our backs before. We managed to stand up. That's the reason why the Jews actually are the people of Israel actually been standing up for the last 3,000 years.
Mickey, just so you know, Donald Trump said if it wasn't for him in America, Israel wouldn't even fucking exist.
Of course.
Do you get that?
He like it. Listen, he look at it. He look at himself in the mirror and joking. That's kind of a president you have.
So, and that's the same. That's the same person that gave.
He's a narcissist. It's okay.
He's a narcissist.
I will accept him. Yes, he is. I like him anyway. I like Donald Trump anyway, even though that he's
Host, are you listening to this? You are an American. You thought they were your allies. You defended them. You sent them your money, and they say your leader is a narcissist.
No, it's been going on for 150 days now. Since day one of the war. Ungrateful, zero self-awareness, and it is what it is.
I'm grateful for Donald Trump. But to say he's a narcissist, it's a bad thing.
Mickey, I will say this. I think the majority of pro-Israelis and Israelis, you have come off very ungrateful and lack self-awareness. I mean, that's just factually true.
All right, factually true. Again, I'm very grateful for the United States, for Donald Trump, for a lot of things, man. I adore him, man.
Well, the guy above you, Yariv, was bitching because our jets are in his fucking airport.
How did we end up allowing them to duck the question, which is, in a conventional war with Iran, will Israel be able to stand against the IRGC and the Iranian government? That's the question. None of them have been able to answer it.
Sam, we analyze the leaders one by one.
So what?
One by one. All the leaders of Iran, we analyze them one by one.
Okay, you analyze the leaders.
Why are they still in power?
Because we are letting them. Okay?
You're letting them?
Yes, some tell us don't do any more analyze. Okay?
Hmm.
This is why. This is the only one. Don't stop us. Do you think we don't know what's happening?
Okay.
Do you think we don't know?
Well. I've been meaning to get Sheffion on her once. Let's see if she's ready to get baked on Christianity, man.
When we go back where you're dominating our kids with this trans bullshit in schools.
That's not happening. But go ahead.
Okay.
Was I was like AWB. I didn't say nothing wrong. I didn't say.
Thank you so much, guys. Let's see. Welcome to the live stream section. Let's talk about what is happening in Morocco. Let's talk about what's going on in Morocco. So, according to reports, over 45,000 people returned. If the argument was that 60,000, so maybe during the coming days, the other ones will be removed. It's a very small place. The people around there all know each other. Their hope is that if they go to that place and they go to Spanish territory by swimming in the water based on the Supreme Court ruling or whatever the case is, that they cannot turn back those that have entered the sea. So it will be very possible for them to be able to go to Spain. And upon arriving there, Spain is saying, no, 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 this is not going to happen. I even saw, I think, a video of some of the guys who claim or were saying that they were told that if they had if they jump into the water, that if they jump into the water and went there, that the Spanish government would accept them. The Spanish government would not send them back. So this is part of the conversation I want us to have today, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're just joining, you're welcome. Continue to engage, tap the screen to share if you can. Uh, let's have that conversation. We'll I will do this in a second. Okay, I think I have it here. Let's go. Let's tap and share, guys. Let's do this. Trying to see. Welcome, 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 welcome to the live stream. I'm trying to see how best I can do this. How best can I do this? Oh my god. Let's see how best I can do this. Okay. Thank you for joining and thank you for tapping and sharing. It's very, very important. Your contribution to this is amazing. You guys are awesome. Um, I'm trying to see how I can. I'm trying to see how I can do this. Edit like this. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hmm. Wilayat Cats. Okay, I think I found it. Wilayat Cats. Hmm. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's continue to tap and to share, guys. We are almost there. We're about to begin the conversation. What necessitated it, and I will give you guys a lowdown with history of the area. Nos, what's up, Nos? How you doing? Welcome, Nos. Mm, tap and share. Do them. Okay. So it's on it. So um, Hmm. So about 48,000, welcome and thank you for the likes. About 48,000 of those migrants have returned. Tonight, I intend to have a live stream with Timo by 9 p.m. my time or thereabouts. So I'm hoping to have him on the live stream as well. I'm hoping to have him by 9 p.m. my time, so we can have this conversation about what is going on in Spain. There are reports that about 48 or 50,000 of them have returned. That is incredible. I can't even imagine what those guys have gone through after their government have told them that the floodgates are now open and they can go in. Thank you so much for the likes and the shares. Don't forget, guys, if you're joining, you're welcome. Let's stop, let's share. Ceuta and Melia. Okay. Mm, Ceuta and Melia. This is what we want to talk about today and the migration problem and what is going on. So we are back, guys. Let's stop and share. Let's stop and share. Over 48,000 migrants have returned to Morocco after massive influx into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta. The Spanish authorities said that they have been overwhelmed, and the police and the soldiers are now in place to make sure that there is careful evacuation of the people that came on to the enclave, which is on the territory of Africa, back to mainland Morocco. But why have this happened? All of a sudden, we are seeing these young people, young men in their 20s, some of them are 19, 18 years old, 17 years old, saying that they saw adverts on Facebook and other social media platforms asking them to storm Ceuta and also Melilla, which are exclaves outside Spain, physically on the African continent, but administered by Spain. And we can also talk about the international dimension to all of this as we carry out this conversation. Don't forget, if you're just joining for the first time, to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment at the end of the video, hit the notification bell so that if I put these videos up, you'll be able to see them. But most importantly, watch the video to the end so you can understand started. Now let's talk about the two territories of Ceuta and Melilla. These are Spanish cities in Africa. We're going to look at the history, migration, and the geopolitical battle for Europe's southern border. This is not just about Spain. It's about migration problem in Europe. It's about these two historical enclaves controlled by Spain, and the importance of that as it relations to migration in Europe. Over the years, the European Union have been paying money to countries in Africa that are on the frontier with Europe, like Libya. They've paid a lot of money to even the RSF in Sudan to protect the border from allowing migrants to storm into Libya and be able to access Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. They've also done that with Algeria. They've done that. And recently, we also saw during the war, the 1 decade plus civil war in Syria, that the Europeans were paying money to Turkey to prevent Syrian migrants from storming Europe. So that is the conversation we intend to have today in relations to the two enclaves of Ceuta and Melilla, two Spanish cities, physically on the continent of Africa, administered by Spain. And we are going to look at both the regional political dimension and also the social dimension of this. So imagine standing in Africa and looking across a narrow strip of land of water into territory belonging to the European Union, territories of Ceuta and Melilla, physically in Africa. And if you stand on the shores, you'll be able to look at the other side and see Spain and the European continent. There are no thousands of kilometers of ocean separating you from Europe if you are there. There is no Sahara Desert between you and the European Union. There is simply a border. One side is Morocco, the other side is Spain. And this is what Ceuta and Melilla are among the most unusual territories on earth. Some will also argue that can also be said about the Strait of Gibraltar. Now, let's go back to what is happening in Ceuta and Melilla and why they are so important. These are Spanish cities located on the African mainland. They are part of Spain and thereof, or therefore, part of the European Union. And for migrants hoping to reach Europe, they represent something extremely important, a physical European border in Africa. So if you stand on the continent of Africa, you're actually standing on European Union territory. The enclaves of Ceuta and Melilla. But the story of Ceuta and Melilla did not begin with the migration. It began centuries ago with conquest, trade, religion, empire, and competition for control of the Mediterranean. Portugal conquered Ceuta in 1415. Spain took Melilla in 1497. Centuries later, Morocco became independent and demanded that these territories be returned. Spain blatantly refused to do so. And today, these two small cities sit in the intersection of three enormous issues: history, geopolitics, and migration. I repeat that one more time. These two important cities sitting on the continent of Africa, physically and politically in Europe and in the European Union, are at the center of three critical issues in contemporary politics: history, geopolitics, and migration. And the result is a border where a dispute that began centuries ago continue to influence European politics today. And in 2026, the border has once again become the center of major migration crisis. So the question is not simply why are migrants trying to enter Ceuta? The deeper question is, why does Ceuta exist as Spanish territory in Africa in the first place? And how did history create one of Europe's most difficult borders? So the question is not just about the migrants flooding into Spain and flooding into Europe. The question is, why do we have European controlled territory physically located in Africa? And this is a question that most people in Morocco as well will ask. But let's look at the geography of it. Where exactly is Ceuta and Melilla? Now, if you look at the map, you see exactly where it's located, physically connected by land, contiguous to Morocco as a territory, and contiguous to the Sahara. Let's begin with geography. Ceuta sits on the northern coast of Africa, overlooking the Strait of Gibraltar across the water in the Iberian Peninsula. Melilla is further east, also in Morocco's eastern coast. They are not colonies separated from Spain by thousands of kilometers. They are Spanish territories geographically located in North Africa. The distinction is important. Let's make that very clear. So it's not just about Africans from Morocco rushing into mainland Spain, That territory is contiguous to Morocco, separated by the sea in order to get to mainland Spain. So they are physically on the continent of Africa. They are Spanish territories geographically located in North Africa, like I said, and the distinction is very important. Spain argues that Ceuta and Melilla are integral parts of Spanish territory. Morocco sees the situation very differently. Morocco argues that these territories are remnants of European expansion in North Africa and should be returned to Morocco, to Moroccan sovereignty. And the argument that some people will also make is that Morocco as a country did not exist at a point in time during the 14th and the 15th century when Spain had control of these territories. Although it's physically and geographically in Africa, and Morocco had independence just in the 50s, so the Spanish government and the Europeans are making the argument that, well, this might be located in Africa, but Morocco and Algeria and these countries just became independent or were created in the 50s and in the 60s. So, but that is not the bone of contention. For migrants, however, the geography creates another reality. Ceuta and Melilla are effectively Europe's land borders in Africa. Sorry. That makes them very different from the better known Mediterranean migration routes. So for those going to places like Lampedusa in Italy and they go to places in the southern border of Italy in Sicily, they go to Malta. For them, they have to navigate the sea. And the moment you're able to access Lampedusa in Sicily, you are already in Europe. If you're able to go to Malta, and you go into Valletta in Malta, you are already in Europe. If you go to the Aegean Islands occupied by Greece, using the Mediterranean Sea from Africa, from places like Libya, you're already in Europe. But for Moroccan migrants attempting to enter Spain, going to Ceuta does not mean you're already physically in Europe, so it's a completely different ballgame. So the Spanish government recently asked them to go back. According to reports and what we have seen over the past 3 days, by the way, this video is done today, the 1st of August 2026. 48,000 migrants have now been asked to return to Morocco after massive influx into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta. And the argument that some of them made is that there was a ruling by the Spanish court that if you come in by sea to Spain, you cannot be turned back. But for those that came in through land, they will be asked to go back. So the migrants said, well, they saw the advertisements, or they saw videos and commentary on Facebook and other social media platforms that yes, they are allowed to go to Spain, and if they jump into the sea, and so most of them did not use the land borders, they jumped into the sea in order to swim to Ceuta. 24 of them dead. But this is not just about what we are seeing today. There's also another dimension to this. It's the political dimension. It's also the economic dimension to this. A lot of young people are fleeing Africa because of the social and economic problems in order to go to Europe. That makes, like I said, because of the nature of these territories, it makes them different from better known Mediterranean migration routes. The migrants trying to reach Italy may have to cross hundreds of kilometers of dangerous sea. A migrant approaching Ceuta may be looking at the border only a short distance away, but that apparent simplicity is deceptive. Because it's simple to be able to go to Spain, that is deceptive. It is very difficult for you to go to Spain. So a migrant approaching Ceuta may be looking at the border a short distance away, but that's not the whole story. The border is heavily fortified. There are fences, surveillance system, patrols, and Moroccan security forces. And around the coast are barriers designed to make swimming and climbing into Spanish territory extremely difficult. So why are these territories Spanish? To answer that question, we have to go back to at least 600 years. You have to go back at least 600 years for you to understand why these territories of Ceuta and Melilla are now part of Spain. So Ceuta has a history much older than Spain itself. The location was strategically valuable because of the position beside the Strait of Gibraltar. Anyone controlling Ceuta had a position overlooking one of the great maritime gateways between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. So it's very important route in terms of the connection between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Over the centuries, the city was influenced by different civilizations. The Phoenicians and other Mediterranean people used the region for transit, for transportation. They used that region over time. Later came the Muslim rule. Under Islamic rule, Ceuta became known as Septa. It developed a commercial and strategic center connected to the wider Islamic world and North Africa. But in medieval Europe, something fundamental was changing. Christian kingdoms in Iberia were expanding. Portugal was looking beyond the Iberian Peninsula. They wanted to weaken Muslim powers controlling important commercial networks around the area. And that brings us to the most important date in the entire story, 1415. What happened in 1415? The Portuguese Empire of Portugal in 1415 launched a military expedition across the Strait of Gibraltar and captured Ceuta. Portugal now possessed territory in North Africa. Imagine, the key date there I want you to note is 1415. Portugal launched a military expedition across the Strait of Gibraltar and captured Ceuta. The conquest became a major landmark in Portuguese overseas expansion. Ceuta became a strategic base. Portugal now possessed territory in North Africa, and the city became part of wider Portuguese effort to expand trade and influence across and along the African coast. This is an important point when discussing the modern dispute. In order to understand what is happening today and the migration crisis and the geopolitics of it and the presence of the Spanish military and Spanish political authority in Ceuta and Melilla, you have to go back to 1415, which is a very important date. But history will soon produce an extraordinary political transformation. In 1580, Portugal and Spain came under the same monarch during the Iberian Union. For 6 decades, the Portuguese and the Spanish crowns were united under one king. Then in 1614, Portugal rebelled and restored its own independence, and Ceuta made a crucial decision. It remained loyal to the Spanish crown. When Portugal and Spain formally settled their conflict through the Treaty of Lisbon in 1668, Ceuta remained Spanish. This is one of the foundations of Spanish modern argument. Spain says its sovereignty over Ceuta is centuries old. And they also argued further that their sovereignty over Ceuta and Melilla is older than Morocco itself. Very valid argument. It does not consider Ceuta a recently acquired colony. It considers it as part of Spain. So Spain considers Ceuta as an inalienable territory that belongs to Spain, and under no condition can anybody claim any sovereignty over Ceuta. Morocco, however, looks at the same history from a completely different perspective. From Morocco's viewpoint, European powers conquered territory in North Africa on the North African coast during an era when European empires were expanding into Africa. And this is why the dispute remains politically sensitive. And recently, we saw reports from the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio asking Morocco to take what belongs to them, referring to Ceuta and Melilla, with the US President Donald Trump saying that Spain is in the wrong for allowing the migrants to come in, and they are now making this a political problem in order to, for political gains, for domestic political gains in Europe and in America. Spain have stood against American expedition in Iran. They refused to contribute their quota or the threshold given to them by NATO. They have refused to acquiesce to the position of President Trump and bullying by the European Union. This is a time for payback. And on top of that, Spain is also one of those countries that stood against the Israeli aggression in Lebanon, and particularly Israeli political activities in Gaza and in the Middle East. And the Prime Minister of Israel have openly stated that Israel will no longer continue diplomatic relations with Spain. And even the Prime Minister's son, Yair Netanyahu, made a post on social media claiming that the Arabs should take it upon themselves to attack Spain to seize Melilla and Ceuta. From Morocco's viewpoint, European powers conquered the territory in North Africa during the uh, Inquisition and also during the long history of European colonization and occupation of land in Africa. And this is why this dispute is very, very politically sensitive. Now let's move along the Moroccan Mediterranean coast and reach Melilla, which I talked about earlier as well. It is history at its, if you want to understand this, it is very important to also put this in perspective because Melilla and Ceuta are two detached enclaves. So let's look at the history of Melilla itself. The history is very ancient. The Phoenicians established a settlement around the 7th century BC. The city later became part of the Roman world. It also experienced centuries of Islamic influence. But in 1497, Melilla passed into Spanish hands. Spanish forces occupied the city and transformed it into a fortified military position. The Spanish presence expanded over time. Fortifications were constructed, walls were strengthened, and Melilla became increasingly important as a Spanish military outpost in North Africa. The Spanish established an outpost in North Africa, and Melilla was one of them. In fact, one of the most important ones. Walls were strengthened, and Melilla became, like I said, an important Spanish European outpost in North Africa. The city survived repeated conflict with forces from the surrounding region. Its strategic purpose was obvious: control the coastline, protect the city, maintain a European foothold in North Africa, and project Spanish power into Western Mediterranean. Today, Spain uses this along historical continuity to defend its sovereignty. Morocco disputes the political implication of that history. And this is where we reach an important juncture. Morocco have a different account of history of what is going on. So does Spain. Ceuta and Melilla are not the same as the Spanish protectorate. We need to discuss that. When people hear that Spain once controlled parts of Morocco, they sometimes assume Ceuta and Melilla were simply part of Spanish protectorate. The history is far more complicated. In 1912, Spain and France established protectorates in Morocco. Spain controlled a zone in northern Morocco and other territories. But Ceuta and Melilla had histories that predate the protectorate by centuries, for a very long time. The distinction is central to Spanish position. Spain argues these cities were Spanish before the protectorate even existed. Morocco's broader territorial argument is different. They are African territories that were taken by European powers and should therefore be decolonized and handed over back to Morocco. Not just handed over back to Morocco, but incorporated into Morocco. So we have two competing historical narratives here. One emphasizes centuries of Spanish sovereignty. The other one emphasizes European conquest of North African territory. Neither side sees the dispute as purely historical or on historical terms because history is connected to modern and national sovereignty. For Spain, the argument is simple. Morocco was created in the 50s, or Morocco existed as a country or came into life as a country in the 50s. And their occupation or their history in Ceuta and Melilla goes back to the 14th century. Even way further than the time period of the union between the two Iberian countries, ruled under the same monarch, which is Portugal and Spain. In 1956, Morocco gained independence, but independence did not settle the question of Ceuta and Melilla. Spain reiterated that both cities belong to it and will maintain control of them. And for Morocco, the situation is unfinished. Morocco have argued that only the regaining of control of these territories would be the end points, and they will continue to agitate for these territories to be returned because of the geographical controversies surrounding these two enclaves. For Morocco, this situation was unfinished. The country had regained sovereignty over most of its territories, but two Spanish-controlled cities remained in the Mediterranean coast. Morocco have continued to claim both Ceuta, what they call Ceuta, and Melilla. Spain has continued to reject those claims. So when it suits the Europeans, they support Spain, and if Spain wants to get out of line, they support Morocco. When it suits the Americans, they support Spain, and when Spain goes out of line, like the current Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez have been doing, they support Morocco. Because Spain and Morocco need each other. It is very important. So why neither side wants the dispute to become a military confrontation? Both of them are in constant dispute and argument and quarrel over these two territories. Spain and Morocco need each other. Spain needs Morocco for cooperation on migration, security, counter-terrorism, trade, border patrol, etc. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and they told me that some of the drug peddlers in places like in Catalonia, in places like Barcelona and in Madrid are from Morocco. Whether that argument is true or not, it's not the question. So both of these countries need to cooperate in so many ways because of the proximity of these two countries and the fact that there are a lot of Moroccan migrants living in Spain and working and earning a living. So Morocco needs Spain and the European Union for trade, investment, diplomatic cooperation, economic opportunities, and relationship with Europe. No country is an island, so Morocco needs the European Union and they need Spain in particular because of the proximity of these two countries to each other. So this creates a fascinating paradox, a contradiction. The two countries disagree over territory, but they also depend heavily on each other. And nowhere is that contradiction more visible than the border and what we've seen over the past 4 days. Now, let's look at what is going on today as we arrive at modern migration question. Why would anyone risk drowning, injury, arrest, or deportation simply to get to Ceuta or Ceuta? There's no simple answer to this, or there's no single answer to this. Migration is usually driven by a combination of factors. Economic opportunity is one of them, and Europe have significantly higher average incomes, particularly income levels, than many countries from which the migrants originate. And let's not forget that these migrants are not just from Morocco. They are from the lower part of the Sahara. They are from the they are from the Sahel, and most of them are from West Africa as well. That go to Spain, that go to Morocco, in order to see whether there's an opportunity for them to go from Morocco to Spain. So for a young person with limited employment opportunities in Marrakesh, the prospects in Europe are boundless. A job, better income, education, healthcare, family reunification, or simply the possibility of building a different life outside Africa. There's still another factor, the proximity. Ceuta is close. For people already in northern Morocco, Europe is not an abstract destination. Thousands of kilometers away, it is physically visible. You can see Spain from Morocco. Sometimes it's only a short distance away. So the psychological effect is important. Close proximity, the distance is very close. For those living in Morocco, they can basically see Spain on the other side. So it's that psychological effect of it that is important for them. And they have cousins or they've had stories of people being able to cross the border and go to Europe. And the Spanish government and the laws in the European Union made it also possible that if you're able to swim, if you're able to get across the sea and you come to Europe, you should not be turned back. It's not just Spain that have this law, it's also a regulation by the European Union in order to protect migrants fleeing from conflict and other uh, economic and social problems in their home countries. So if Europe is visible from your hometown and you're living across the border, or you're living close to Ceuta and you're living close to Melilla, or if you're living on the northern territories of Morocco, you can basically see Spain. It can feel less an impossible barrier and more like an obstacle that might eventually be overcome. And also, let's not forget the role of social media and migration networks. This is also very important. What we saw in recent days or weeks is a campaign on social media that the Spanish government has now, as a result of the Supreme Court ruling, most of them did not even read it, that you can now come to Spain if you are able to jump into the sea and swim to Ceuta or swim to Melilla, because these two territories are physically in Africa and they are not far away. In fact, they are contiguous to Africa. So if you don't go through the land border, and so the perception is if you don't go through the land border and you swim across the sea and you're able to have your way, and go into some of these enclaves, you'll be able to qualify for asylum. The Spanish government told them absolutely not. And over the past 24 hours, they have turned back over 48,000 of those migrants. In fact, reports we are hearing is that those that were able to go to Ceuta were over 65 to 75,000, depending on which source you're looking at. Incredible. 24 or 25 of them already dead by drowning in the sea in an attempt to go to Europe. Modern migration is increasingly influenced by information. A person no longer has to rely solely on smugglers or relatives. They can watch videos online, they can see people crossing, they can receive rumors about border conditions, they can hear that the border is weak. They can hear that the Spanish government will allow them to remain as a result of what I said earlier about the Supreme Court ruling in Spain. And sometimes the information is completely wrong. This creates what might call a migration information cascade. I repeat that one more time. This might create what we call a migration information cascade. One person hears something, the person tells 10 people, the 10 people tell hundreds of people, suddenly thousands believe the same thing. And when people already have an economic and social problem or reason to migrate, misinformation can become a final trigger. Saw a lot of young people. Some of them said they are tired of Morocco, there's no job, there's a lot of crime. There was even a young boy that said on camera that yes, he's tired of going to police station or the prison, that the Moroccan authorities have arrested and locked him up several times for drug peddling. But he wants to go to Spain because he's tired of living that kind of life in Morocco. um, but most of them have now been asked to go home. They will not be allowed to leave Morocco and go to Spain. Sorry, they will not be able to go to Spain. So, like I said, information is important. So when so many people, suddenly thousands believe the same thing, and when people are already tired of the economic and political and social problems in their country, they have every reason to migrate. Misinformation can now become a trigger for this. They become especially important. They become vulnerable to this, and this became important in particular in relations to what happened in Ceuta in the recent uh, in recent days. So, and this happened, like I said, on the 29th, between the 20, I think 28th and 29th of May, 20 of 28th and 29th of July 2026. But let's go back a little bit and see, what happened in May 2021. Ceuta experienced one of the most extraordinary migration surges in modern history. So we're not just talking about 2026. This happened in 2021. Thousands of people crossed from Morocco into the Spanish enclave over a very short period. Many entered by swimming around the coastal barriers. Others approached through land routes. Children were among those arriving. The sheer scale overwhelmed local authorities. And almost immediately, another question emerged. Why had so many people been able to reach the border at the same time? Does it mean that the government of Morocco is allowing this to happen? The answer cannot be understood simply by looking at the migrants alone. We also have to look at Morocco. Morocco normally plays an essential role in preventing people from reaching the Spanish frontiers. But during the crisis, Morocco and the border enforcement appeared weakened dramatically by design. And that occurred during a serious diplomatic dispute between Morocco and Spain. And we're seeing exactly the same thing. The Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez recently reached out to the Algerian authorities to sign energy deals and also security cooperations with Algeria. Morocco is a sworn enemy of Algeria. After independence, Morocco and Algeria fought bitterly over the regions of Béchar and Tindouf. Bitter conflict, both of them fought against each other. So, and the animosity have remained ever since. In fact, Morocco at the point in time left the African Union because the African Union decided to support Algeria. Algerian push to create independence for Western Sahara, or the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic as they call it. Morocco sees Western Sahara as part of it. And Morocco also have allies. In recent times, the United States of America and Israel that have sold even arms to Morocco. So all of a sudden, because this happened over the past weeks or months, Morocco have decided again to weaken its border. On top of that, you have a political fallout between the government of Spain, led by the Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who is a socialist, and the government of the United States of America, because Spain refused to allow American planes to fly from their territory to bomb Iran. Spain have vehemently condemned America's position on the war and expedition against Iran. And this is part of the problem. So Morocco, an ally of America and Israel, probably taking cues from them according to reports, whether this is true or not, if you believe the conspiracy theories, have decided to weaken its border and use migration as a tool to pressure the Spanish government to some sort of political conversation. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, also made a comment in relation to this. We also had comments from the likes of the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, and his son, Yair Netanyahu, who's basically living in Florida, the United States, also made comments about it, encouraging the Arabs of Morocco to flood Ceuta and Ceuta, to flood Ceuta and Melilla and take what belongs to them. So Morocco normally, like I said earlier, plays an essential role in preventing people from reaching Spanish frontiers. But during this crisis, Morocco and Moroccan border enforcement appeared to be suspiciously weakened, dramatically weakened. And that occurred during the serious diplomatic dispute between Morocco and Spain. In 2021, Spain allowed Brahim Ghali, leader of the Polisario Front, to receive medical treatment in Spain under arrest. Brahim Ghali is the leader of the Polisario Front. The Polisario Front is one of the groups leading, to the decolonization or to some sort of independence for the Western Sahara. So, like I said, the Polisario Front supports independence for Western Sahara. Morocco claims Sahara is part of its territory. Morocco was furious about Spain's decision, and diplomatic relations deteriorated. And then came the sudden migration surge into Ceuta. This happened in 2021 because Brahim Ghali, supported by Algeria, was allowed to receive treatment in Spain. The timing led many observers to conclude that Morocco was using migration pressure to send a political message to Spain. We need to be careful here and try to understand what is going on. It is difficult to prove that Moroccan authorities deliberately ordered migrants to cross. We don't have any substantial, hard evidence, hard fact to prove that. But we have seen the patterns before, and people recognize patterns. The evidence does not justify reducing the entire event to simply statements such as Morocco sent migrants to Ceuta. A more careful interpretation is required. The diplomatic confrontation coincided with a dramatic weakening of the border controls, creating an opportunity that thousands of people immediately exploited. Morocco did not ask migrants to go and occupy those territories. They are saying, and Morocco have always maintained that those territories belong to them. But Morocco knows very well that they cannot seize those territories through military means. And is this also another effort or another attempt to create crisis in Spain, to create a situation that might lead to civil war in Spain, or an attempt to see that Spain will shoot some of those migrants, drown them in the sea, and then that creates a moral question on Spain. It creates a moral question on the European Union, creates a moral question on the Spanish authority and the Spanish government led by Pedro Sanchez, and that will give some sort of impetus to the Europeans and even to the United States of America to support Morocco to seize Ceuta and Melilla. The distinction is very important. These migrants themselves were not simply pieces on the chessboard. Many of them are also responding to their own economic circumstances and the information available to them. They had information, they acted on it. But the episode demonstrated something strategically important, that Spain, anytime they want, or Morocco, sorry, anytime they want, can use these migrants as a tool to put or exert political pressure on Spain if there's a fallout, like we saw with the support of Spain for the Polisario Front by offering medical support to the leader of the Polisario Front, hiding in Algeria, and went to Spain to seek medical attention, and the Spanish government allowed him. Another way again that Spain can be pressured as a result of this fallout with the United States of America and the European Union to some extent could also be the question of independence for Catalonia. Like I said, this episode demonstrated something strategically important. Migration pressure can become a tool of international politics. Migration pressure is very important. It can become a tool of international politics. But there was a quick turnaround. Spain and Morocco dramatically improved their relations after 2021. And in 2022, Spain shifted its position on Western Sahara and backed Morocco's autonomy and their proposal as a serious basis for resolving the dispute. Okay? The diplomatic relation improved, like I said, and the migration cooperation was strengthened. I need to drink some water. I'll be right back. Let's take a 2 minutes hiatus, and I'll return back so we can continue the conversation. Don't forget, if you're just joining, you're welcome. Continue to tap and to share. And if you have comments, leave your comments as we continue the second part of this conversation. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, to share, contribute to the live goal as well. We have the live goal there. We can fill up the box is important. We have 39 shares and we have 80 people listening. Can we share this to 50 people? Let's have 50 shares in the comment, and let's continue to engage in the conversation. I'm also available and live on YouTube. Don't forget to engage with the conversation as we're live on YouTube and other platforms. Don't forget that. Continue to engage in the conversation. Continue to tap and share, guys. Tap, 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 and share. We'll go to the second phase of this, and then I'll bring some people up in the request box. So if you're from Spain, if you're from the region, if you want to have a conversation about Ceuta and Melilla and the migration issue, send your request up, and very soon we'll have the conversation. This is very important. So send your request, and I'll bring you up very soon. I need to drink some water. Continue to engage in the conversation. Continue to engage with it. I am back. Yes. Can you mute your mic? No. Why should I mute my mic? Why? Because I was drinking water and you could hear all the noise. Yeah, yeah, I'm back, guys. I'm back. We are back. So let's continue this conversation about the turnaround in the relationship between Spain and Morocco after the incident of 2021. 1 second. Hold on. I have to. I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do something, guys. Somebody's asking about my guard card. Uh, I don't know, man. My guard card 3 is just fine. My guard card 3 is fine. I'm trying to get another one. My guard card is doing good. But did I? So if you want to request up at the end of this video, because I'm creating a video also on YouTube. So if you want to see the whole breakdown of how this all started, you can check it out on my YouTube as well for you to see the whole breakdown. So don't worry. My card on my camera is filled up, so I'm trying to see whether I can replace another ones before we continue the conversation. Yes, thank you so much. So let's talk about the turnaround after the incident that happened in 2021 between Morocco and Spain, and how that turned around the relationship between Morocco and Spain in relations to those two enclaves and the question of Sahara, of Western Sahara. So this is not just about Ceuta and Melilla. This is also about the political position of Spain in relations to Algeria and the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, or what they call the Western Sahara. So Spain and Morocco dramatically improved their relations in 2022. Spain shifted its position on Western Sahara and backed Morocco's autonomy and position as a serious basis for resolving the conflict or the dispute between the two countries. Migration cooperation strengthened between Morocco and Spain, and the border became more tightly managed. So after the incident of 2021, Morocco and Spain decided, you know what, we have a lot in common. Why don't we just, talk through this? And they met King Mohammed VI, and they had a conversation. And fast forward to 2022, the relationship that was at its lowest in 2021 improved, and the borders became more tightly managed. This illustrates one of the most important themes in this entire story. SEPTA's migration problem cannot be separated from the international political situation in the region and beyond. Sometimes the war in Iran could also even be a problem, could be also be and could also influence what is going on. The recent rapprochement by the Spanish government led by Pedro Sanchez with the Algerian government could also be a factor. There are a lot of factors or issues that could be put into consideration to understand what is happening today and the influx of migrants swimming across the sea to be able to go to Ceuta. While Spain and Morocco cooperate, Morocco can prevent large numbers of people from reaching the Spanish border. When the relationship deteriorates or gets bad, border management can become more fragile, very fragile. This does not even mean migration surge is politically manufactured. It means that border sits inside a diplomatic relationship where migration is one of the most important bargaining issues. So migration is now being used as a bargaining tool against the Europeans by countries like Morocco and Libya and the rest of them. We also saw the same situation with Turkey during the war in Syria, during the years of civil war in Syria. So SEPTA is very important, but SEPTA is only one of the pieces of a much larger European problem. Europe has spent more than a decade struggling to create a common migration policy. In 2015, refugee crisis exposed major divisions between European countries. More than 1.2 million first-time asylum applications were recorded in the EU in 2015. 1.2 million first-time asylum, because if you apply for asylum the first time, there's no guarantee you get it the first time. So people apply again and again. So in 2015, there were about 1.2 million of those first-time asylum seekers that filed in their application. So the crisis raised the difficult question: who should receive asylum seekers? Should countries in Europe, external borders, carry most of the responsibilities? Because the Europeans, when you talk about Europe, Europe is also Europe also include countries like Poland and Belgium and the Netherlands and so on and so forth. Most of these countries don't have frontier with other states, like Africa or other regions like Africa. Spain have frontiers with Africa, France to some extent, although you can also argue that the Mediterranean Sea cuts across, but from they can go to France, some of them can go to Italy, they can go to Malta, they can go to Greece, they can go to some of these places. So the question remains, who should shoulder the responsibility of some of these migrants coming particularly from Africa to Europe, or coming from Afghanistan to Europe, or from Asia to Europe? Most of them coming in illegally, coming on boats. So how should Europe distinguish refugees from economic migrants? And how quickly should failed asylum applicants be returned back to their home country? All of these are questions that have been asked and continue to be asked today. And how can these European countries protect their borders without violating the rights of people? And that brings me to my point about the ruling by the Spanish Supreme Court that the migrants, that crossed into Ceuta over 3 days ago, claimed to have seen. These questions remain unresolved in political terms, even in within the European circle and within European legislation. In 2024, the European Union adopted its Pact on Migration and Asylum. So by 2024, they had a Pact on Migration and Asylum. The new system entered into application on the 12th of June, 2026. I want you guys to understand that. Adopted by the Spanish Supreme Court. So this is not just about Spain adopting it. This was a pact that was reached by the Europeans in 2024 and came into enforcement and came into law on the 12th of June 2026 by the Spanish Supreme Court and other countries in Europe. And then in Morocco, what they saw is that, they said if we don't go by land and we swim into the sea, we can go to Ceuta and we can all come into Spain. So over 75,000 of them swam across the sea, got on tugboats in order to go to Ceuta. As we speak right now, 25 of them dead and many more are missing. The pact designed to create a more coordinated European approach. It includes screening of irregular arrivals, registration and identification, common asylum borders, fast processing in appropriate cases, stronger return procedures, clearer responsibility rules, and a solidarity mechanism to support countries facing migration pressure. So this is a common front, or this was a common front agreed by European countries in order to understand and stem this tide of migrants coming into Europe, and also to protect the vulnerable ones that are coming in because they have been, they're facing they're facing social, political, and economic problems in their home countries. So this particular enforcement or application that came into force on the 12th of June 2026, it's very important to understand what happened in Ceuta. Because Spain is not dealing with an exclusively Spanish problem. Spain's African border is also an EU external border. So when large numbers of people reach Ceuta, the question eventually becomes, what responsibility does the rest of Europe have? What is the responsibility of Europe? What should Europe do to help countries like Spain that are on the frontiers? The same argument is being made by Italy and Greece. Countries are at Europe's external border often say we cannot be expected to carry the entire burden simply because of geography. You can't blame us simply because of geography. Because we have external borders, so we're in proximity to these countries, and people are jumping into the sea and coming by land and accessing Europe through our borders, it becomes a migration problem. So this could not or should not be the problem of Greece, of Malta, of Italy, of Spain, and France alone. It should be the problem of all the European countries. We cannot have uncontrolled secondary movement across the continent. This is the argument from some of these countries. And migrants and human rights organizations have also raised questions that you cannot just turn people back because you believe that they're coming in illegally. You can't push them into the sea. Some of them are on the sea. So would you drown them and push them into the sea? We've had cases before where, reports have been, pushed around that some of these boats have been sunk by different European authorities or European Navy. Although unconfirmed, none of these have been substantiated, but we've had these rumors and reports in the past. So what happens to the right of people seeking protection? That's also a very important question. So the human side of it, or the humanitarian side of this should also be put into consideration. So it's easy to discuss migration entirely through numbers. Thousands have crossed, hundreds were returned, the border was reinforced, the government issued a statement, but every number represents a human being, and with that person, he has a mother, he has a father, he has sisters, he has a family to represent. And if that person dies while trying to access Europe, you have taken away the life of an individual who is carrying the burden of generations and burdens of his family and people around him. Some of these people are simply seeking to escape poverty and conflict, searching for work. Some of them are children. Some are misled by information online. Some have relatives already living in Europe. And some simply believe that the risk is worth taking. But there's another human side to it. There's another human story to this. The people living in Ceuta also experience the consequences of this migration. Imagine the people that are living in Ceuta. Some of them, said that people broke into their homes. People were trying to hide inside their gardens. Some of them robbed them. Imagine 60,000 people or 50,000 people or 45,000 people, because a lot of numbers have been banded around, rushing headfirst into your home, into the homes of some of these people that are living in Ceuta. Some of them were scared because these migrants overwhelmed the military and the police and ran straight into the enclave with the hope that they can get asylum. But that is not the case. Spain is saying, no, we are not going to give you asylum. Go back to Morocco. So Morocco and Spain have been going back and forth on this. And on so many occasions, we have seen Morocco also using this migration issue to pressure Spain on some certain political and regional issues, including the status of Ceuta and Melilla in relation to the claims made by Morocco about the right or the claim they have over those territories. The sudden arrival of these thousands of people can overwhelm reception facilities. Local authorities have to provide food, shelter, medical assistance, and security. Residents may feel the sympathy, others may feel frightened or angry. Businesses can be disrupted. The political tensions can rise rapidly between both countries. Migrants want opportunity and safety. The border community wants security and stability. The government wants control. The last thing that governments want is chaos because that could open the floodgate to anarchy. Human rights organizations want legal protection and dignity as well for those people attempting to flee from their countries in search of better life, to run from conflict, and so on and so forth. And Europe wants a system that is both enforceable and humane. Those objectives do not always align. Let's make that very clear. And now we arrive at the most extraordinary chapter of the story. What happened in Ceuta in recent days? In late 2020, July, around 28th, 27th of July 2026, Ceuta again became the center of a major migration and humanitarian emergency. We saw so many reports, varied numbers have been banded around in their estimate that tens of thousands of people were reportedly attempting to enter the Spanish enclave in an exceptional short period of time. Reuters report that the Reuters report estimated around 60,000 people attempting to go to Ceuta, while others reporting put the numbers at 49,000, 55,000, and so on and so forth. The reasons reported for the surge include economic hardship, social media misinformation, and claims that the Spanish government court decision, like I said earlier, as a result of the agreement by the European Union in 2024 in relation to migration issues that the Spanish court have now upheld in 2026. People saw those the videos and they saw some of those reports online and believe that the Spanish government have now opened the floodgate for them to be able to flood into the enclave of Ceuta. Spanish authorities said misinformation circulating online was the cause of the problem, and the scale of the movement overwhelmed the local capacity to the point where the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, had to come himself to Ceuta, and extra military forces were deployed to Ceuta. The crisis is particularly significant because it shows that the fundamental problem has not disappeared. Technology has changed, migration routes have changed, European laws have changed, but the underlying forces remain exactly the same. Economic inequality, proximity, information networks, um, border enforcement, and geopolitics. All of these are the mosaic of factors that have engineered or engendered this recent surge in migration in an attempt to reach Spain and in an attempt to get to Europe through Ceuta. And during the earlier course of the conversation, I've also talked about the nature of Ceuta and Melilla and the geography that they occupy. In conclusion, Ceuta is easy to misunderstand. At first glance, it looks like a migration story, but it's much bigger than that. It is a story about the legacy of an empire, about the European history and legacy in Africa. Because if you look at it from the side of Morocco, Ceuta and Melilla belong to them because if you look at it geographically, it is physically located in Africa, but under the political control of Spain. It's about the story of the European colonization and expedition in Africa. It is a story about Moroccan nationalism. It's a story about Spanish relationship with North Africa. And it's a story about Western Sahara, which I talked about earlier. It's also a story about European migration policy. And above all, it is a story about geography. Ceuta and Melilla, these two enclaves, are physically located in Africa because geography created this dilemma. The European Union border exists on African soil. The European Union have a border and military personnel right on the territory that is contiguous to Africa. And on the other side, on the other side of that border, millions of people who live much closer to Europe than most of these Europeans realize. For Spain, Ceuta and Melilla are sovereign Spanish cities. For Morocco, they remain unfinished territorial questions. For migrants, they can represent the nearest visible possible routes or hope to go to Europe. For the European Union, there are external borders that Europe must protect while respecting asylum and human rights obligations. And for Morocco and Spain, there are reminders that migration and diplomacy can never be completely separated. The history of Ceuta began centuries before the modern European Union and before the creation of the state of Morocco that came into existence in 1956. But the decisions made today will remain and determine the status of these cities as they are today. So it is very important for us to understand first the geography, the political motives, the international implications of this, and also things like the standoff between Morocco and Spain in recent times in relations to Spain normalizing or reaching out to Algeria to have good diplomatic relations with them, politically and economically, and also the gas shortages in Europe. They are trying to now find an alternative to supply gas to Europe, and Algeria is one of those countries they are looking up to. And this is why Morocco is not happy. And you can also look at the international dimension to this in relations to the standoff between Spain and President Trump, meaning between the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and the American President Donald Trump, between Spain and the United States of America, in relations to the American military expedition in Iran, in relations to the stance of Spain in relations to what America and Israel is doing in the Middle East, particularly in Lebanon and in Gaza. And this is why people believe that Morocco, an ally of Israel and America, is now playing the card in support of their own political cause, but also in alliance with America and Israel. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Very important. If you love this video, if you have learned anything from this video, go to the comment section and tell me what you have learned. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button, share this video, and I'll see you in the next video. So I'd like to have you guys to come up if you have requested. For those of you that are from the region, if you want to request to come up, let's have one at a time, guys.
Two-state solution in Spain. Two-state solution.
Do you
give the Moroccans what they deserve?
What do the Moroccans deserve? Tell me.
They deserve their land back. Andalusia, it's their land. They're Muslims. The Christians took over the land. Now they need to get back their land. Two-state solution.
So you're saying that you're saying that Morocco took over the land from who?
From the Spanish. The Spanish took the land.
From who? Spain took the land from who?
From Morocco.
When was this? When was Morocco as a state created? When was Morocco created as a state?
Ceuta is in Africa.
Yeah, no, but you said when you say Morocco did not exist until 1956. There were independent territories.
Right now,
yeah, it's physically.
Two-state solution. Two-state solution. The Prime Minister of Spain, he's a war criminal. He should be in The Hague. The ICC should file an arrest warrant against him for returning all these people, innocent people, 60,000 innocent people, women and children.
Yes.
Back to where they came from.
That's absolutely.
The right thing to do.
That's the right thing to do. At least he did not shoot them and kill them. No. He asked them to go back.
No. I think it's a genocide. It's apartheid, and I want two-state solution right now.
So you're not making any cogent argument. Your only argument is because you're an Israeli and Spain stand against what Israel is doing in Gaza. Therefore, you're standing against the Spanish government and accusing them of genocide. There was no single bullet shot at any of those migrants. Not one bullet shot against any of those migrants.
No, 6,000 people risked their life. Now you want to send them back?
Yes.
They don't have a right to live.
So if 60,000 people came in from Ethiopia to your country illegally, will you keep them or will you ask them to go back?
No, we will keep them like we did with the Sudanese and
so okay, well, the argument is not about Sudan and whatever 5 or 10 people came to your country. The argument is way bigger than that. You are claiming that if 65, 70,000 people rush to your borders and by the way, Ceuta is a very small place. For 60,000 people, they will overwhelm the system. And many of the people that lived in Ceuta complained about people breaking into their homes and stealing from them. It's insane that you are supporting this kind of, this kind of idea. It makes no sense. Let's have somebody else from the knows about the region. I'm hoping to have people from Spain join this conversation. Okay, I think I have. Let me send this to a few of them. Continue to engage with the conversation, guys. Um, okay, so please bring me up. Is this a topic you know about? You can't just come up for the purpose of coming up, but let's see whether you have anything to contribute to this conversation. Welcome, brother. Yeah, what do you think about the Spanish government sending back 48,000 migrants? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me clearly?
Welcome, Rashi. Welcome, brother.
Sir, we know who is behind this now.
Who is behind it?
Sir, can you hear me?
I think his internet is bad.
Sir, can you hear me? I want to know if you can hear me.
Can request to come back up soon. Welcome, brother. So I'm seeing today that the Spanish government have asked about 48 to 50,000 of them to return. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on it is a statement made by a 14-year-old boy when he was asked by a journalist, and he said, "Why did you come?" He said to him, "I just wanted to come out for the day. My mum is waiting for me." So the majority of people that actually made that treacherous journey were really underage, suitable for war, right? And the Spanish government has contained everyone for the Moroccans' safety, because violence erupted between the locals. The locals are Spanish Europeans and also Moroccans that are holding Spanish passports. Okay, the situation has calmed dramatically because people have TikTok and information is coming out all the time. We know who the big players are and who benefited. But I'm afraid, once again, humans, cargo, and criminals have capitalized on this. Whatever cargo of any illegal substance that was taken across the water, it remains there, but actual humans actually come back. This was coordinated. This was instrumental for Europe to wake up and say, you know what, there is a migration issue. It's a topic to be discussed in the EU Parliament. The UK is on the side of Morocco because the UK has been anti-Spain for a long time. If you ask any Moroccan in Ceuta,
Yes.
would you like the Moroccan government to take over Ceuta? You say no, leave it Spanish.
Yes.
And if you ask a Spanish native who lives in Gibraltar, which is controlled by the British, if you ask a Spanish person in Gibraltar, he will say no, keep it British, right? So it's obviously people are being used in this global world of protectionism. Policies are being drafted to change the dynamics of the EU. Trump is using the Ceuta invasion or the Ceuta border crossing as for his election slogan. He said that you saw what happened in Ceuta. In America, it's going to happen 100 times worse. That's why we need to build a wall. That's why you need to vote for me. That's why I'm your man to safeguard you from migrants. So everyone is playing this. The Spanish government is saying, you know what, we encourage migrants, but we encourage migrants through the right doors, because without migrants, Spain would not be operational. The Moroccan side of things is they proved the point that this is Moroccan land and you are a colonizer, and we can do this every year if we want to. We just came in here and proved to you that we can come in anytime. So it's a win for Morocco. It's a win for the United States because Trump needs to get re-elected and he needs to give this up as a fair mongering to the Americans to say, you know what, we need to tighten up our borders. However, other countries like Italy, Greece are saying that we are learning from Spain and what happened in Spain. So the situation is calm at the moment, but I think all the big players have benefited from these poor humans making that dangerous journey.
So if some people are saying if so sorry to cut you off, but if some of these poor people are saying they did it for fun, we had that 25 people died. How can it be for fun when 25 people died?
No, it's actually 68 people who have died by the confirmation of the local Moroccan authorities. 65 people that actually followed the instructions on the social media, that is Facebook, Insta, and other social platforms actually encouraged us. Yeah, so this is instrumented, guided, and executed by all sorts of players.
This is incredible. Welcome, Sila. What is the role of the recent meeting between Algeria and the Spanish government,
Spain.
the Spanish government and Algeria, in relations to energy deals
Okay.
with this?
Okay. What
Morocco is using the Spanish and Algerian relations as a push card. That's why they opened the borders. That's why they opened the borders to punish Spain, because the vice president of Spain came to Algeria and signed some papers regarding
Gas.
Polisario, which because the Polisario are defending the Western Sahara case.
Okay.
And now before you continue, in 2021, the leader of one of the leaders of the Polisario, who was being housed in Algeria, was flown to Spain and received treatment there. This was where the fallout started. And Morocco repeated the same thing by flooding Ceuta with these migrants around that period, to the extent where I think the prime minister.
They wouldn't admit that it's a free country, the Western Sahara. They colonized it, and then they said, "Oh, they don't give a fuck about Ceuta or Melilla."
Hello, excuse me. Mind your language, otherwise I'm gonna come down. I don't need to hear that filthy language from.
They don't give a flip about Ceuta or Melilla. It's just a push card used whenever it's not convenient for the Moroccan government.
I am Moroccan and I'm Maghrabi, and it's always been called Al Maghrib. There was no such land as Sahrawa. So
Western Sahara has always been an independent country. You are a colonizer.
All right, guys.
I'll let you speak.
Yeah, let's speak one at a time. There's room for everybody.
Exactly. I'm not here to argue. If you want to talk, I'll be quiet. You have the platform.
Yeah, go ahead and speak.
Give me the respect. Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you check your history, whether you Google it or Wikipedia, it's been always called the Kingdom Al Maghrib, which constituted Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, including all the Sahara right down to Mauritania. So if you take the time to educate yourself instead of jumping on the bandwagon of socialism, because Spain is a socialist country, Algeria is a socialist military country, supporting Polisario that are socialists, and they are isolated. Where can the Polisarios go apart from Algeria and Spain? Morocco is advancing, with or without you. With or without
how? You've seen how advanced you are by
Just give him a minute. Celia, give him a minute, then you can have 3 minutes to speak.
Of course, we are advancing. otherwise you won't see all this mayhem. Morocco in the African Cup, you tried to sabotage it. Morocco in the World Cup, you tried to sabotage it. Morocco on the political world stage, you're trying to sabotage it. Morocco doesn't care about your group. It doesn't care about a small population that is roaming and eating sand and eating other people's food. We are happy to have you as our brothers and sisters, but you have to have the respect of Al Maghreb. Without Al Maghreb, you are just desert dwellers.
All right. All right. Let her respond now. Go ahead, Sila.
I'm not a socialist. This is one. We have all seen the footages of the Western Saharan people who were trying to get independence when they were colonized by Morocco in the early 2010s and 11s. Women being raped, people being killed by the Moroccan government. There is no right for press there to showcase what's going on in the country. You just colonized the country and you're calling it right now Moroccan Sahara. That's what's going on.
Okay, because you have been supported by the Soviet Union, a communist, you have been supported by the Algerians, they are socialists, you have been supported by the Spanish, they are socialists. Please, go get...
Hold on, guys, just control it. Guys, this is a very... Guys, you will say something only when I say so. You will... Yeah, I know. This is an emotionally charged topic.
This man is beating and oppressing the lady, okay? I'm a Ghanaian by nationality, okay?
Shut up, you idiot.
Listen to me very carefully. Don't jump on the panel.
Hey, calm down. Go eat some jollof rice. You want some jollof rice? You want jollof rice? You want KK? You want KK?
Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your fucking mouth.
All right, guys. Nobody can hear you guys if you're shouting. Nobody can hear you if you're all shouting, guys. NJ, hold on, guys.
I'm going to speak English for you, for everybody to understand.
Just lower your shouting, lower the tone of your voice.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm a Ghanaian by nationality, okay? And we have been in Morocco, and I schooled in Morocco, so now he cannot speak on this panel, okay?
Thank you, Morocco.
All right, guys. 1 second. Both of you are my guests. Guys, both of you are my guests. Let's speak. Take turns to speak.
I will eat your life.
We will deal with you. We will deal with you. And we will deal with you to the end. My host, can you meet him? Meet him for me.
Idiot.
You fool. You don't know where your ancestors come from.
Accra,
You don't know where your ancestors come from.
I will come to Accra. I will come to Kumasi. I will look for you in Kumasi.
All right, guys. Guys, hold on. Everybody stop. Let's agree on something, which is respect. We should learn to respect each other. If one person is speaking, the other person should listen. Yeah, but he was talking when you came in. 1 second. He was talking when you came in.
Because you idiot. Listen, he's a
idiot. Shut up.
He was the left. Let me something.
Calm down, bro. Why are you yelling? Why are you shouting? Calm down. Let him talk.
We travel Wait, we travel so much, stand that we learn their language, and sometimes we pretend as if we don't understand their language. So when they speak their spit on people's faces, we come out boldly and we speak truth to power. Okay? Yes, we are. You have no power. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're a fool. I'll slap you. I will slap you so hard. I will slap you so hard. Calm down, bro. What are you yelling? Fuck you up. I will fuck you up in Kumasi. I will fuck you up in Kumasi. You are a disgusting idiot. You shaitan. You shaitan.
All right, one at a time. All right, guys. All right, guys, hold on. Hold on. 1 second, guys. Stop talking, everybody. 1 second. Salila, can you hear me? 1 second. Salila. When you speak of the Western, okay, hold on, guys. Guys, I said stop talking. Salila, my question is, when you speak of the Western Sahara and you speak of the Polisario, do you think it's okay with what the Polisario Front is doing against Morocco? Some of the attacks, there are terrorist attacks that have happened in Morocco and so on and so forth. Don't you think that Morocco have a right to insist that they will not accept Polisario and even accept the independence of Sahrawi? Go ahead, Sila.
First of all, it's not Moroccan. They're trying to free. It was an independent country. They are a whole different people. They speak a whole different dialect. They are, and whenever they talk about their land and that it's being colonized, they are facing persecution. It's not even like normal jail time. They are like dripped under the sand.
Yeah. Guys, she's answering. Oh my God, I told her to hold on, guys.
Can you let people talk?
Guys, just mute yourself, man.
Is the proof of the racism of Arabs against Africans. They hate immigrants. They hate African immigrants. They treat them like shit, but they want to emigrate to Europe.
All right, guys, I don't want to go short time. Guys, all right, guys, please let her finish. Go ahead, Salila.
Finish what? At this point, this guy is cussing me out. You're asking me questions. What do I do?
Well, so guys, don't you understand? You need to respect. Guys. Yeah, you are the first. All right, sorry. Go ahead and speak. You have a minute.
All right. What was the question again?
Yeah. I said like what you see what the Polisario Front is doing and carrying out these attacks against Morocco and so on. Don't you think Morocco have
attacks? What attacks?
Oh, the leaders of
Give me an example.
The leaders of Polisario on numerous occasions have carried out attacks that Morocco called terrorist attacks on their territory. And if you want, I can.
The only attacks I've heard about are signing papers to free the country. There was no actual attacks made to free Western Sahara. The attacks are coming from the Moroccan government to the Saharian citizens looking for independence. So what are we talking about?
So you say they have not carried out any attack against against Morocco?
No.
Okay. Go ahead, Rashi. Rashi, are you there? Okay, I think he left.
I'm here. Let me handle him. Thank you. I appreciate that. my host. I love the way you handle the panel. Let me tell you, okay? From I was in Morocco since 1999, okay? Now, these people, they have nothing to tell us where the Western Africans that they know everything. You understand? We live with them, we eat with them, we learn their language, we speak with them, we do everything with them. They are bastards. You understand me? So, okay, now, let me tell you something. Before let me tell you, if you are able to, you're a black man, you attend school with them, you attend school with them, and you are a scholar, and let me tell you, if you guys go out to look for a job or in the military, because you are black, they will take you to last class in the military, and they will push their people forward. We know how we did it before we liberated black people in that country.
Are you saying they're doing that? Are you saying that they're discriminating against you because you're black? And are you claiming that the Arabs doing it against black people?
Yes, I'm telling you with authority that yes. You know, I've been on this your panel before when the invasion of this the issue started. You understand? Now we you know what you are trying to say is before Morocco accepted that they have to leave black people to be free so that they can give them documents. We know how we dealt with them. And we are telling them with authority, and there's no way they can, there's no way they can run away from it. Okay. Now going back to this Polisario issue, the Polisario, no, if they are claiming that Polisario is theirs, then why should they build social amenities of which the social amenities wouldn't reach Polisario? From Clemin to Dakhla, there's no any, you cannot see a Moroccan flag. Now, what are you telling me? Are you going to isolate some people and take care of some others? No, it's impossible. We know what you are talking about because we in 1999, if you were a black man, you have no right to enter bus. Okay, you have to walk. So we walk from one place to another. You know, walking from Wichita to Rabat takes 32 days. Okay, so now if you see any black person in Morocco takes car, we did it for us for black to be liberated. So when he comes here to spit in the faces of black people, I will stand against it.
So you're saying that are you claiming that Morocco is discriminating against black people and preventing them from entering the bus?
I'm telling you with authority. Ask those people who passes that route from 1999. They will tell you the history. I'm telling you, I was there in 1990. So I stayed there for 10 good years. Okay, so I'm not. Before you see an Englishman speaking Arab like them, then you know that he agree with them. Okay, so I'm not. He can travel the way they also travel and learn language. That's why we also go around and learn languages. You understand me? So he cannot be on this panel and be spitting in the faces of people. And I stand to be corrected. The lady who was speaking, the way he was oppressing that lady, that's their nature. That's the clear definition of them. Okay, when you don't understand, go and look when we watch the AFCON. That's how they still did it there. So up to now, even that we are still protesting for those that they've arrested who are in the prison because of the AFCON. We are still release some, and there's still some there. We will bring them all out. We are telling them that we are coming for them, no matter how we are dealing with humanity. We are saying that human rights law does not permit nonsense. Whether he like it or not, he can change the language and he can speak Darija. I will follow him any language that he speaks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We have new people.
Tell you something. I'm not scared of you. I'm following you, and I'll follow you.
You said, hold on. You said you finished. Let him speak now.
Let me speak.
No.
Let me speak. Let me speak.
I will speak also.
Listen.
Yeah, you want to speak, but like, hold on, guys. I'm not. If hold on, guys. Listen, there's a lot of noise from your mic, for God's sake, NJ, and I don't have the strength to babysit anybody. Let him speak. Go on, Larashi.
Okay. This individual came up so violently, and he personally started attacking me and spitting on his own mic. He didn't understand the topic me and the sister were talking about. She supports.
Hold on.
Go suck you girl, you idiot. He started supporting the girl without actually listening to you. Now, this guy's obviously got issues in Morocco. Maybe he wanted a Moroccan wife, and they said, no, you're too aggressive. Okay. My understanding is this.
Nobody wants your wife.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, guys, hold on. Let him finish.
Okay. Morocco is proving to the world we are moving forward. Whether you like it or not, we have the biggest boat.
I told you not to interrupt. Don't interrupt. Do not interrupt. Don't interrupt. I'm going to mute you now. I'll mute you. Stop interrupting. I told you not to interrupt.
We have the biggest port in Africa. We're doing contract with Europe, China, Turkey, everyone. Everybody wants to come to Morocco because it's the gate of Morocco. Now, these type of human beings that are so sour, so angry, so uninformed, disinformed, and misinformed, the boat is going to leave you. And please, whoever wants to come up to Morocco and test us, by Allah, we are waiting for you guys, and we're waiting for everyone, because our military is strong. Our network of economy in Africa, we will isolate anyone, but we would like to prefer to work with everyone. Morocco has been hit.